Sam here, and today I want to share with you a few of my thoughts about why your canvassing isn't working and how you can fix it. Now, I've talked to a few of you recently who've been on my trainings about how to get somebody to subscribe to your list. So we've talked about ebooks and other subscriber bribers, and I'm not going to go into those today, but I am going to talk to you about the difference between driving somebody from your canvassing to subscribe to your list versus to drive them straight to a market appraisal. And I'm going to just run through some numbers with you so you can see the logic behind the methods that I'm teaching in my marketing system. So first of all, let's assume you're trying to drive people straight to a market appraisal, because that's what most agents want to do. So you're sending out your canvassing leaflet, it says phone us for a free market appraisal. And let's say you send out 11,000. So 11,000 canvassing leaflets. I'm going to just use 11 because the numbers work out better. You probably aren't going to send out 11, probably going to send out 20 or 10 or 5. But let's say you send out 11. What can you hope for back? Well, usually you're going to get 0.02% of people call you. That's about the industry average at the moment. You might have more in your area, you might have less. I talked to an agent the other day that sent out 20,000 and got 1 response, and they can't even work out what that is, but it's not very many. So 0.2% will call you to book the market appraisal. And from that, let's say 95% actually go ahead and book that market appraisal with you on the phone because that's what they phoned for. Let's say 50% of those instruct you, which is slightly on the high side because usually if they're calling you from a leaflet to book the market appraisal, that's usually lower than that. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And let's say 95% of those is your retention rate. So that's what you're going to get through to a sale. Let's just run the numbers on those. So from sending out 11,000, what you're going to get back is, and unfortunately this is in decimal points, 2.2 calls. Obviously you can't have 2.2 calls. 2.1 of those are going to book a market appraisal. From those, 1.05 will instruct you, and let's say just 1 will go through to the sale. And that's the reason why I've used 11,000, so we can have a nice round 1 there. So 11,000 on this side is 1, which let's say your average is £2,500. Commission fee, that's what you're earning back from, let's say, about £1,000 spend there. So not a fantastic return, but still worth doing. 2.5 times back your return on investment. So let's run the numbers if you were to look for a subscriber instead of going straight to a market appraisal. Well, you're going to still send out 11,000, but the difference here is there are 2 more steps here you're going to look for when you're getting people to subscribe to something and not straight away phone into the office for a market appraisal. So the first step is you're going to ask for the subscription. And the next step is you're going to encourage somebody to get on an email conversation with you. And that goes here. Now the point here is it's actually much easier to get somebody to get on and to subscribe and then to get an email conversation with you than it is to go straight for this market appraisal. And so far more people will do this. So you're putting more people into the funnel at the top of your funnel to start with, give you a better chance of getting down here and getting more people through that funnel. So let's look at the numbers here. Well, first of all, I'm going to assume that 1% of people will subscribe to whatever the subscriber briber is that you're offering in your leaflet. And that is actually conservative. Depending on your area and the subscriber briber and lots of other factors and how easy you make it for them to subscribe, that 1% should be conservative. From the 1%, pens down, from the 1%, I would say about 50% of those, so about half, will end up on an email conversation with you. And that, again, depends on how successful you are asking a really great question in that first email in order to motivate that next part of the funnel, which is your email conversation. From that 50%, what you're then trying to do is get people on a phone conversation, not necessarily to book a market appraisal, but just to talk them through the issues that they're facing and the reason they're subscribed in the first place. There must be something going on to do with their moving plans, and so you want to hear about it on a phone call. So I would say that from that 50%, roughly about 70% of people you should be able to get on a phone call, because it should be a nice, easy transition from there to there. From the 70% of people on the phone call, again, they're not on the phone call to book the market appraisal, so it's not going to be as high as this side, but it still will be, I reckon, about a third of people. About 30% of people will agree when you say, well, I should just pop around and have a cup of tea with you and have a look. Then I can have a chat with you about the issues that you're facing. So let's say 30% of those are going to book a market appraisal, even though it might not be as strong as one as over here. However, once they get through the door, certainly your instruction rate will go up. And I reckon you're talking about 70% instruction rate at that point. Now that might not be immediate, that might come later down the line, but you've got a much better chance of getting that instruction than somebody else who hasn't followed this funnel and built up that relationship and that rapport right from the start. From that, let's just go for the 95% again. That's about industry average, and let's just run the numbers on that. That means 111 people will subscribe. That means about 56 people will get on an email conversation with you. 39 of those will end up on a phone conversation with you. 12% will agree for you to pop around and have a cup of tea with them. And from that, 8.2% will instruct you, which leaves you 7.8%, let's say 8, which will go through to a full sale and completion. At £2,500 each, that is £20,000 in commission. Is this longer? Yes. Is it more complicated? Yes. This is nice and simple, but it doesn't really work, does it? This works brilliantly. And if you do this over time, then you're going to be building more and more people into your funnel. And therefore those 50% are going to be really big numbers, not just 56 people, and so on and so forth, all the way down to here. So this is what I recommend in my marketing system. This is not what I recommend. What about you? What do you think? What would you like to do? Now, I'm going to put on some free training. The details are in this email below, or if you're watching this on YouTube, they're in the comments below. So the details of the next training about exactly this and much more, how you can build out your funnel, are just below this video, depending on exactly where you're watching it. And I really, really hope you can join me there. If you want to get in touch, I'm at sam@samashdown.co.uk. Just fire any questions you've got over to me. I'll do my best to answer them. And if I don't see you on the training, hopefully see you on the next one. Hope you've enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed you watching me do this. So thank you and have a great day. Bye for now.